So we talk a lot about the big stuff you carry in your truck, tools, recovery, first aid, but what about all the small things, kind of your truck EDC per se, stuff that you want to have at hand, but it's really easy for it to get, disorganized and kind of float around all over the place. So today we're going to take a look at some ways that you can kind of like wrangle your truck EDC, compartmentalize it, and have the stuff you need when you need it. All right, so let's start with the center console. I'm in my ZR2 here, and when I got this truck, one of the first things I noticed is that it is a massive bucket for a console. I did find this tray for like 10 bucks on eBay or whatever, and it really helps me kind of sub-organize. This is all that junk that's kind of like your kitchen drawer where, if you don't know where you're gonna put something, it goes in there. Got a tail light bulb. I've got change. Don't ask what that little ball of wax is for. I'll tell you when you're older. An extra multi-tool, keys for around the farm, a little EDC flashlight, knife sharpener. I've actually got an extra battery for my everyday carry flashlight. Shout out to my buddy, Bushcraft Kelso. This is a carving jack, so it's actually like a pocket knife meant for wood carving. It's nice to have that handy. Spork life, everybody needs a spork. And then an extra lighter, and then I actually have this ancient relic here that you may not know what this is for, but I carry this because my wife is a dedicated, truly dedicated iPhone 8 user, and that way she could plug her headphones into that. So it's below that tray. I wanted to have a way to kind of have some compartmentalization, and also I can grab this stuff out and just go. So I've got two of the Blue Ridge Overland Gear EDC organizer pouches. This one's actually the limited run multicam black that we did earlier this year, maybe late last year. On the outside, some high-vis paracord, never know when you're gonna need that. And on the inside, this is kind of my electronics wrangling set. I've got an OBD2 reader right there, never know when that's gonna come in handy. Swiss Army knife, lens pen, which is handy when we're out shooting like this. And then this side is all the cords I need. I've actually got one charging a light right now, but everything from like USB A to C, C to C, another lightning cord, and then on the back I actually keep a little packet of various sizes of zip ties in there. So that pretty much stays in here. It's for those electronic emergencies when you need to charge something you don't have a cord. The second one is actually the one that we do with Overland Medic. This is one of the kits that Rodney sells. I have a bigger first aid kit on the back of the headrest, but this kind of serves two purposes. For one, it's easy to get to, it's right here. And two, it's small enough I can throw this in my bag if I'm going out for a hike or something like that. We've got plenty of content on these, but this is kind of like a half first aid in terms of like, a little bit of medication, sunscreen, lip balm, tweezers, stuff like that. And then like a trauma kit on this side with like shears and chest seals and dressings and everything. Then together they fit nice and tight underneath this tray. Boom, that's a lot of stuff in a small space, and it's really well organized, easy to find what I'm looking for. And then let's go up top to the visor. So this headliner doesn't accept patches. So I've got our visor panels here, so I can have a few patches from friends, from trips, stuff like that. I try to make this not overpacked because for one reason, if I'm out on a trip and I've got like permits or passes, I want to have them up here, easy access, easy to get to. This interior pocket, keep it pretty simple. I've got a notebook. This one's actually a Right in the Rain from Essie, the guys at Randall's Adventure Training. Nice and handy if I need to, scratch down some direction or some notes. Then I've got some insurance and registration information. Oh, very important, loyalty card for the local coffee place. And sometimes, I don't know, you want to keep some stickers and patches on hand to hand out. So I got this one. There you go. Very important message from your sponsors. And then on the front, on the Molly panel, I've kind of got some stuff. I admit that when I started thinking about this video, I was like, wow, that's a bit outdated. But I keep a tire gauge up here. I know the truck, tells me we got TPMS sensors, but keep this handy in case I need to check pressure. And, honestly, when I'm airing up or airing down, this is probably quicker and easier than going back and forth to the dash. Then just keep a Sharpie and a pen, going back to that notebook we talked about earlier. And I got a couple of like random pins from bike shops and stores I've visited, over the years. And then I am definitely prone to maybe get out of the truck, go wandering through the woods. So I've actually got this little watch band compass from Sunto here that I clip up there if I want to get out and, do some very rudimentary land nav. I wouldn't trust my life to that thing, but it's better than nothing. And I actually keep a few pieces of important paper for more like up-to-date grab things right here. Then on the other side, this is kind of like Brandy's side, so obviously she's got some stuff in there. But one thing that I've realized, speaking of outdated things, my old truck had a truly terrible dome light. And instead of like, you know, looking for a bigger bulb or something like that, I just started keeping like a small flashlight up here. This one's actually from Phoenix, and in a pinch, it's a headlamp. So it's pretty nice to have that just kind of ready to roll if I need to get out of the truck or my headlamp dies on a trip. And then kind of the last thing that's always in here, I know I talked about grabbing the compass if I'm going out, you know, to walk in the woods. I've got my first aid kit from Overland Medic if I need to throw a first aid kit in my pack and go. But I always have a knife stuck in the truck somewhere, usually right here in the console. This is actually one I've got from LT Wright last year with their Christmas sale. A GNS, so, you know, just a good like sturdy fixed blade, and a ferro rod, you know, for a fire starter. So if you want to have a truck knife, probably just a word of warning, don't go with something with a Kydex sheath. Get a leather sheath or look for one that's actually like a molded plastic, because the heat in the summer in your truck can actually cause Kydex to deform and it'll lose retention. Whereas you don't have to worry about like that with leather and the molded plastic sheaths, while some say with like a cheaper product is actually more heat resistant.